Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Saturday, October 14th, 2023. And for you guys on YouTube and Facebook, this is not pro this or anti that, okay? It's not hate speech, but here it goes. My commentary today, Americans, is on Gaza. A mess. A week ago today, on October 7th, Hamas invaded Israel and attacked its what you call civilian citizens. And this is a word you got to understand you can't use, Americans. And I wish your government would start using it. Because Hamas is doing something that was done 80 years ago, and you guys did part of it too. It's called war. And in war, there are no civilians. There are no, oh, you got to stop and hold up on this because there's a hospital here or old people are here. You can't do that. And this is the way Hamas is doing. Total war. When they invaded Israel a week ago, their goal was to bring in other factions like Hezbollah, Iran, maybe Jordan, get their treaty off, and Egypt, because Egypt is strangling them on the south side. Okay. Israel on the west, Egypt on the south, is strangling the Hamas in Gaza. Hezbollah, on the other hand, doesn't have that problem in Lebanon. And they got, I would say, 10 times the firepower that Hamas has. Iran's making sure of that because they're kind of Shiite over there in Hezbollah and a little Sunni, too much, and Wahhabi over here in the Gaza Strip. And they keep on saying, those 2.2 million Palestinians are... Now, Israel gave them an order, 24 hours to evacuate to the south. And the United Nations, as a joke, has says they can't do that. Of course they can't. But here you are, Americans, and let me give you a point of view. Today, we don't deal with governments. We deal with groups of terrorists, okay, who are supplied by certain governments. You know who I mean, but I'm not going to mention them. Because there is no tangible evidence according to the rules and say that they did. Okay? But Hamas, what they were planning on doing is, okay, we'll go there, we'll attack, and Hezbollah will get the nod and start shooting rockets from the north. So that way Israel has a two-pronged war that they're dealing with. And, the Syrians, Assad's group, would do a little shelling themselves from Syria. Well, whoever told Hamas that do this and we'll be right there for you, that's one mistake they made because they're not there. The unnamed persons that I'm saying here decided, oh, I didn't think that the Biden administration was going to put the most newest and largest aircraft carrier off the coast saying, don't, okay? But what does that do for Israel? Well, total war has been declared on Israel. And Israel has to respond in kind. Let me give you a for instance here, Americans, and how you got involved in a mess. Just think of Israel as Poland, okay? 1939. Now, you know that the Germans did not mass on the border of Poland, okay? But they were massing a few miles away because they had a new system in line, a shock system called Blitzkrieg, okay? You understand me, Americans? So there was no cry from the civilized world about that. Yeah, you're going to do civilians. There's no cry about the over 1,000 Israelis that they murdered, burned, and raped. And these how many they have in the hostages and how many got killed by friendly fire, known as Israelis' bombings, or themselves, the Hamas. And when Israel goes in the incursion, as the Germans did, they went, but they did it at the same time, okay? They started shelling Poland, and they started moving their panzers and their brigades across the border. And it took 3 days for Britain and France to say, oh, we got a little treaty with Poland here that says that if they attack her, we've got to be responsible and come to her aid. Yo! Yeah, remember that? 3 days, okay? Here, Israel, because of the craziness of the United Nations and the world, has posted a 24-hour evacuation to the south on Gaza, and they're going to invade. We're at 300,000+ troops. Now, you know that's going to be hand-to-hand fighting. It took 3 weeks for the Germans, with all their firepower and air power, to subdue Poland. And only because on the 17th of September 1939, 16 days later, their pal, the Soviet Union, invaded from the east. Now, you see my point here? You have Hezbollah, and this is what they were counting on, and Hamas, and at least Hezbollah to attack from the north, and Syria to make haphazard areas from the east. Syria is not what it used to be, but they were counting on that. That is Mr. What's-His-Face over in the unnamed country. But because of the United States' actions, Hezbollah more or less said no. And the Iranians, hey, we need our $6 billion here, and why can't you give it to us over there? Yeah, okay. So you see, this is the problem. The Germans went right through. They didn't issue any warnings. They didn't say, we're coming to get you, ha ha ha. They just went in there and started eliminating Poles, left and right, from 1939 to 45, okay? Poland lost what? 22 or 25% of their population, big time, to the Germans. And, of course, to the Allies with the bombing. You know, there's friendly fire in there. Is there going to be a lot of civilians in the Gaza who are going to get... Yes, you bet. But it's total war, people. Total war. Okay? Do you understand that concept? Because that's what Hamas understands, that's what Iran understands, and that is what Hezbollah understands. Jordan, on the other hand, and Egypt have had their dealings with the Palestinians. 1970 for Jordan, oh, if you remember that, they took in tons of refugees and they paid a price, big price for that. King Hussein almost lost his throne over that. You don't remember that back in 1970? Yeah. And how about the Egyptians? They took a whole bunch too. And they finally had to close. And you notice that they are keeping the Gaza Strip closed on their border. Why? Because they understand the Palestinians. And the Palestinians themselves, they put themselves in here. They voted Hamas into power in 2007. Well, the Gaza guys. The West Bank Palestinians, well, they don't know what the hell they want over there, so they just go with the flow and gripe and, protest this. And for you people here in Americans that are both protesting for Israel and protesting for the Palestinians, stop it. Neither one is a pro or a con here. It's a matter of national security on the Israeli part because it got attacked by a terrorist group, just like you guys went and attacked Afghanistan after you guys got attacked in 9/11. Any country would do that. And you don't wait a week and say, okay, you guys have 24 hours to move down to the south because we're coming in. And what's Hamas going to do? It's going to go with you guys and say, no, you stay right here. We're not going anywhere. Israelis, come in. We're going down, but we're going down where you guys are going to be responsible for an atrocity. And look at the atrocities that was committed by the Germans and the Allies. Americans, you got an atrocity, which they don't talk about. Dresden. You didn't drop any leaflets or anything on Dresden before you burned the city to the ground and bombed it to hell, did you? No. How about Tokyo? You didn't have that either. And you bombed the hell out of that city. See what I mean? This is the way it is, Americans. This is total war. And you're fighting because one group, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran, want to eliminate Israel off the map. And Israel's fighting for survival. That is the only way war is at. War is not political. War is not, diplomatic. We got to have a corridor here so we can take the people out. Really? When are you guys going to understand what war is? War is messy. War is terrible. And war is total. No such thing as good guys and bad guys. It's just, you want to wipe me out, I want to survive, and whatever is in between that is collateral damage. This is your favorite alien explaining this to you, and I'm not pro this and anti that for you guys at YouTube and Facebook. Good day.